Okay, hello and welcome to How to Write, Publish, and Distribute Your Book in the next 180 days, profit outrageously, and make an incredible difference. My name is Justin Sachs. I am your presenter today. I am the CEO and founder of Motivational Press Publishing, and I'm excited because I really want to share with you some of the leading tools, strategies, and systems for writing your book. But more importantly, I want to share with you why it's so important for you to write your book. Because if there's one thing that's going to drastically improve your credibility, significantly improve your ability to close deals and make sales, it's going to be improving the perception and the perceived value that other people have upon your credibility, your expertise, and your professionalism. And the best way to do that is to write a book. So I want to teach you, first of all, not only how we are going to help you write, publish, distribute, market, promote, and sell your content. I also want to tell you how we're going to really be able to enhance your level of credibility, enhance your overall productivity in writing and in developing content, and then ultimately in selling. Before we get started, I want you to take a moment to imagine the impact that it will have on your business when you are fully published, distributed, and released, when your book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, on retail outlets throughout the world, and when you are, the impacts that it will have on your business today. Because if there's one thing I know, having published over 100 authors myself, having worked with over 400 authors to write, publish, and distribute their books, the one thing that I know is that ultimately it is in the books that you write that your credibility comes. And so I want you to take that moment right now to imagine the difference it will make in your life, in your business, and in your overall productivity and effectiveness for you to have this book published and distributed. The next thing I want to do is ask you, what do you want? What do you really want? Is it more speaking engagements? Do you want to write a book simply to have a product to sell? Or is it that you want to become more of a center of influence? See, if there's one thing I know, it's that in creating this book, and creating this and releasing this product, you're going to have a huge ability to increase your success overall in terms of the business that you're going to be able to create as a speaker, getting on more stages and presenting more, being able to sell more products and services, not just your book itself, but a higher level product or service if you have one or are creating one. You also will be a huge center of influence to those in your community because authors are automatically experts. It's very quick and easy to establish yourself as an expert as soon as you've written a book. And so once you've done so, people will naturally become attracted to you, and you will immediately begin to notice the number of people that will begin coming your way to connect with you, to do business with you, to build relationships with you, etc. The next thing is I want to share with you a couple of things about our biggest successes, some of the most incredible individuals that I've had the privilege of working with, and the results that we've been able to create. One of my friends, James Timothy White, has multiple international bestsellers, just recently released 42 Businesses Under $100, sold over 35,000 copies internationally. He's done foreign rights in 3 different countries, and has been recognized by President Barack Obama for his leadership and service. He said about us, after firing all of our previous publishers, I couldn't be happier working with Motivational Press on my 2 most recent books. The next person is Anne McIndoe. Many of you probably know her as the queen of book writing. She is America's authors coach and has worked with over 400 authors now to release their books. She actually helped Tony Robbins, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Robert Allen, and has supported many individuals to releasing their books as well, has spoken onside many of the top leaders, and recently released her book and became a #1 bestseller in both print and ebook. My friend Dave Van Hoose, we just released his book to a full packed house in Orange County, California. We released it in September, and he's been endorsed by Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Robert Allen, and many others. Motivational Press is the top publisher for experts, speakers, and thought leaders. That's what he said about us. The coolest thing is, I want you to imagine for a moment the impact that you will have when you have some of these leading endorsements from guys like Kevin Harrington, people like Robert Allen, some of the leaders in our industry, President Barack Obama, as James had, back here, I want you to imagine the results that you can have by having some of these key players endorse your book, by appearing on Oprah Radio, The Today Show, USA Today, the Boston Globe, as my friend Jothy Rosenberg has. He just released his second edition, Who Says I Can't with Us, and has recently produced a huge television series that he's going to be releasing with an Emmy Award-winning television producer. The possibilities are endless once you have a book, but the first step is you have to produce that book. You have to create that content. Once you do, your ability to produce that video, to produce that media appearance, to produce that speaking engagement, to produce all of the different opportunities that will come your way becomes so much easier once you have the credibility behind you of having written that book. My friend Denise Locsin wrote, she closed deals with Apple, Yahoo, and other major Fortune 500 companies in the Silicon Valley. She wrote her book Strategic Health Solutions and has an international health community called the High Five Health Network. She said, without motivational press, I could have never released my book internationally. That credibility is what has supported me in doing business with major companies like Apple. What would it be like for you to do business with a company like Apple Computers, like Yahoo, and other major Fortune 500 companies? What impact would it have for you and your business if your products and services were either being used by those companies, purchased by those companies, or endorsed by those companies? The possibilities are so incredible when you have a book, but you have to get started. So here's what I want to share with you today. The first thing is how to easily and affordably write a book, publish a book, and release a book internationally in the next 90 days. I want to tell you the widely known benefits and little known secrets of writing a book. I want to tell you what you must know about getting your book done the right way so that you don't waste time, you don't waste money, you don't waste energy. I have a lot of people that come to me all the time having already spent $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on producing their book, on hiring editors, on doing all these different things. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to get to those numbers doing it the wrong way in this industry. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to very quickly and easily decide to write, publish, and distribute a book without any stress, frustration, or overwhelm, which is the biggest challenges that face most authors, and it's the biggest reason most authors fail to actually complete their book, release it, and profit from it. The next thing I'm going to teach you is how to become the expert in your field by leveraging your book into multiple profit centers. Because I want you to be making money not just from selling your book in book form, in ebook form, in audiobook form, but I want you to use that book to get on speaking engagement stages where you can be making thousands of dollars per hour that you're on stage. I want you to be using it to get nonprofit partnerships and corporate sponsorships with some of the world's largest nonprofits and corporate sponsors. And I want you to use it to create massive success in your current business. So because a book should support you with whatever you're currently doing. If you're currently producing incredible results in your business, a book will help you increase those results tenfold. The last thing is I'm going to give you my 3 proven steps to getting your book done in the next 60 days. Because I want you to finish that book and release it as quickly as possible. Because once you have, the possibilities, as you've already seen, are endless. So let's get started. I want to tell you how to write and publish your book. I want to give you the specific steps in order to do it, because by doing so, it'll make the biggest difference for you. The next thing I want to do is identify the biggest reasons you absolutely must have that book, because for many of us, we know we probably should, but we don't really realize the impacts that it will have for us to have a book. I want to teach you about the branding and credibility it'll make available for you, the international product distribution and sales, and the massive public relations and social media opportunities. I already showed you my friend Jothy, who's gotten on Oprah Radio, the Today Show, etc., simply by having that book. And I know that you can too, simply by getting started. A little bit about my company. I have a huge product development team that we've built with high-level expert marketing executives, graphic designers, distribution coordinators, publicists, and brand development strategists. These are the guys that will actually support you in actually creating that content, developing it, releasing it, and publishing it internationally. The next thing is we are really powerful and we really pride ourselves on innovative marketing strategies, because a lot of publishers out there are still of the mindset that you publish a print book, maybe you do an ebook, but to do an audiobook is unheard of, to do interactive ebook content is unheard of. These are some of the most important components you absolutely must do in order to be effective now. The next thing is superior international distribution. We have some of the largest distributors on our team that support us in actually getting our books fully released internationally throughout the United States, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Brazil now. And then we have foreign rights to support you in reaching even more countries internationally so you can get into China, Russia, Israel, Pakistan, India. I could go on and on and on with the number of countries that we're in now. The last part is multi-format, multi-channel sales funnels. As I mentioned, you want to be in your ebook, you want to have the print book, you want to have the audio book, and you want to have an interactive ebook now too, where video content is actually supporting everything that you're doing. From there, you can even go into interactive e-learning and have supportive online certification programs and educational platforms to teach your audience about your higher level of education beyond just the book. Some of the experts that have endorsed our products and our experts, President Barack Obama, President George Bush, President Jimmy Carter, Governor Schwarzenegger, Kevin Harrington, as we mentioned, Dr. Nito Cobain, who has the High Point University, Robert Allen, Brian Tracy, Nolan Ryan of the Texas Rangers, Richard Gannon, who's a famous NFL quarterback, Peggy Flaming, an Olympic skater. These are just a few of the high-level 5-star endorsements that our authors have gotten and that you can very quickly and easily get to once you have that book. These guys are very, very approachable once you have the developed content. So if there's only one reason, let go of all the revenue you can produce, let go of all the product you can develop, let go of all the additional revenue streams you can have, and all the additional publicity opportunities. If there was only one reason to write your book, this might be it. Simply for you to have a high-level endorsement that you can use to leverage your products and services throughout your business. A little bit about me personally. I started my business. I did 5 best-selling books. I've now done over 75 best-selling titles internationally for other authors. I've directed and produced 4 feature films. I have multiple clients that have produced 7-figure thought leader businesses, which is one of the biggest things that I'm really proud of, as well as having multiple companies that were directly responsible for over $10 million in increase in revenue for our clients in 2011. And we've been featured on hundreds of television, radio, newspapers, and magazines internationally, including MSNBC, CNBC, Yahoo Finance, ABC, CBS, and Fox. So we've done pretty well in the past 5 years, and we're looking to do some incredible things coming up. A little bit about where I'm strong. I'm a very good at expert brand development, social media, public relations, and celebrity recognition. The reason I tell you this is because a lot of guys will come out there and they'll teach you about things they may not actually know about. My background, as I'm about to tell you in a minute, is from some of the world's leading authorities on business, branding, social media, public relations. And because I've been fortunate enough to learn from them, support them in their businesses, and really develop strategies behind them, I've been able to learn the key tools to developing authors, to supporting them, to creating their credibility. And I want to give you those tips, tools, and strategies here so that you can use those in your business now, and when you release your book, you can use them to highly develop and brand and establish that new product and service that you've developed. So a couple of the guys that have endorsed me and that I'm just so proud of these endorsements. President George Bush, through your service you demonstrate the outstanding character of America and help strengthen our country. Arthur Ryan, chairman of Prudential Financial, thank you for your inspiring commitment to serving your community. Contributions like yours make our communities and our entire nation stronger. And of course, Honorable Arnold Schwarzenegger, your efforts will leave a lasting impression on countless individuals, and I thank you for your hard work. So a couple things I like to throw in there from some of the guys that have really supported me and have stood by me in my work. So how did it get started? People ask me all the time, you're a pretty young guy, you've gotten started, and you've really developed a powerful company that's supported authors to really establish themselves and develop huge business opportunities for themselves. How did you get started? What had you really do it? And the answer was I was working with Tony Robbins. I started with Tony very early on and volunteered for him quite a while. And then after working in his nonprofit organization, got involved in his product sales and distribution. And I was very fortunate to be involved in developing a lot of the product sales systems that he has really developed a lot of success. Our team, when we developed it, had huge success in selling at his events and produced a lot of records. So that was my initial sales experience. Then I started working with Mark Victor Hansen, the co-founder of Chicken Soup for the Soul series, who I was fortunate enough to really work with in doing product development, event production, speaking event management, and in doing so was able to really establish the core values behind developing a powerful product. Because if there's one thing you have to know, it's that your message is going to drive the hooks that get into the media. I'm going to say that again. Your message drives the hook that pushes you into the media, and that pushes you into having a larger platform, which will ultimately produce that success. After that, Mark is very famous for asking everyone he meets, when are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? So finally, after he asked me so many times, I wrote my first book. It was called Your Mailbox is Full. It was for teenagers, and it was a phenomenal book. It's my favorite that I've ever done, but I will tell you, it's the one I made every mistake in the book on. Because not only did I self-publish it, which my advisors told me to do, I had very limited distribution because it was a 4-inch by 5-inch book, spiral bound, with very limited distribution. Because I self-published, most distributors require you to have at least 5 products beneath a publishing company in order to fully distribute your title. And because I had to learn how to massively promote myself, which I was able to do, getting over 250 radio interviews with that book. And the one thing that made that book so successful was our ability to do a massive cross-promotion formula that put all of my contacts in the industry together. And together we were able to promote the book into becoming a bestseller within 7 days of its launch. That's how it ultimately became successful. But without that, I didn't have the distribution. I had to learn 5 industries, as you will too if you self-publish, 5 different industries in order to possibly be at any level successful in terms of actually producing that which I wanted. I had to learn the printing industry, the interior design industry, the graphic design industry, the printing industry, the publishing industry, the distribution game, the promotion industry, the PR game. Everything I had to put together all for myself. Yes, of course, with my advisors, but it was so overwhelming and so stressful. I said, there's no way guys like this should be doing this amount of learning for the first time. There has to be a better way for them to do it. And so that's why I created Motivational Press, was to serve people and really giving them these systems, tools, and strategies so that they don't have to go through the learning of 6 different industries like I did. So why write a book? What's the purpose behind actually developing content? Because many of you are probably wondering, it's nice, like books sound great, I can see that it'll probably help my personal credibility, but what difference will it really make? Well, the first thing is, as we mentioned, celebrity endorsements. That's a huge component. The second thing is corporate sponsors, because imagine if you were able to get a sponsor like Pepsi, Office Depot, or any of the other top-level Fortune 500 companies to endorse your product and pay you to do your own marketing. Imagine being paid $100,000 just to go and market your own products and services simply because they wanted to be a part of it. Huge opportunity for you. The next is nonprofit partnerships. What if simply by giving back, by being philanthropic, you were able to get an organization like Kiwanis, like Boys and Girls Clubs of America, like YMCA, to promote your book to their entire database of millions of people internationally? How impacting do you think that might be to your credibility, your success, not just with your book, but overall in your branding and your overall credibility? The next, of course, is that enhanced credibility and branding simply by having that product, especially if you make it a bestseller, which I can show you how. It's very simple and very easy to do once you have that system set up. The next thing is, this is a very powerful entry-level product. So if you have clients or customers that are coming to you to buy a higher level product, they want to have that book so that they can be a part of what you're doing. That book is the thing that welcomes them to your message, to your brand, to what you want to sell them on the higher end coming behind that. And then the other thing is, it gives you huge international marketing opportunities. From the moment you release your title, you're internationally distributed with a product overseas. Once you do that, you're going to make yourself hugely available throughout the world for additional marketing opportunities, speaking engagements, and other opportunities internationally. The last is higher level speaking engagements. Every single day I get an email from one of my clients who says, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just got this speaking engagement as a result of having the book released, of becoming a bestseller, of whatever it may be. It's unbelievable the results you produce in your speaking simply by having that book, by releasing it, and by becoming a bestseller. So what are the biggest challenges? Why don't people complete the book or even write it to begin with? The first thing is, they just don't know what to do first. They don't know how to write the book. I mean, if we're honest with each other, writing a book seems like this overwhelming, daunting task. To put together 250 pages or even 150 pages seems like a very overwhelming task. They have no time. They believe it's very expensive and takes forever, and it can be, and it can take forever. They're not clear on what to do or what to write first, and they don't know how to get started. So I'm going to give you this simple system so that you can eliminate all of these. I'm going to give you exactly what to do first, second, and third. I'm going to eliminate the time excuse because I'm going to make it really easy for you to do it in the next 60 to 90 days. And I'm going to make it so unbelievably no-brainer inexpensive for you that it's going to seem like I'm giving you a gift from God. It is so simple to do and so cost effective that it's going to be very effective for you to simply say yes and move forward. So let's get started. Let me start to actually give you some of the simple systems, tools, and strategies to make a difference so that you can move forward right now in beginning your author journey. The first thing is, I want to tell you why the top speakers and coaches come to publish their books with us. And the reason is because of our system. There's 5 strategic keys to developing your manuscript and releasing your book successfully. The first is, obviously, you have to write your content, which includes developing your message, developing your outline, creating your content cues, recording your content, and transcribing your manuscript. I'm going to go into all these a little bit in more detail here in a couple minutes, so don't worry, I'm going to get you the very specifics on how to actually do this so that you can move off this call and take immediate action. The next is publish. You have to build your graphic design so you have your cover and interior layout. You have to have a distribution strategy so you know how it's going to be released on retail forums internationally. You have to have a marketing strategy so you know how people will actually find out that it's distributed and available. And you have to have web design because without a web presence, you're way too far behind as an author, as an expert, as a speaker, and as a thought leader. The next is you have to build credibility. Different ways to do this are by creating sponsors and partners, as we've said, media interviews, speaking engagements and events, or video production. And the last piece, of course, is promotion. And that involves social media, email marketing, bestseller campaigns, cross promotions, and joint ventures. So let's delve in deeper so that you can really get clear on exactly what it looks like to get started, especially with the writing component. Oh, and of course, the 5th component is to sell, because without selling, there's no point to play. So sell your content, sell your book, and profit outrageously. The first key, of course, is writing your book. So we talked about message analysis. This is where you really identify what is the core concept that you want to share with people. What's the core value? What is the core system that you want to give people? And once you've identified that message, the rest becomes so much easier, because when you identify the true purpose behind writing the book, you can develop that outline very quickly and easily. Now, when you develop the outline, I want to make it really simple for you. The first thing I want you to do is decide on the 10 major topic areas that you want to give. And when you decide on those 10 major topic areas that you want to give in your book, those become your 10 chapters. That's the secret. But pretend like I didn't say that for a minute, because those 10 topic areas are going to be the premise behind developing a very clear outline. Now, underneath each of those 10 topic areas, I want you to start writing some key points, some key bullet points that you're going to include within each of those topic areas. I want you to try and get 10, because those now become your 10 section areas within each of those topics. So I want you to imagine for a moment how this will work, because remember, our target and our overwhelming difficulty was getting to 150 or 250 pages. I just had you create 10 topic areas, and within each of those topic areas, I had you pick at least 10 different bullet points. I want you to imagine that you write 1 to 1.5 pages for each of those bullet points. You now have approximately 150 pages of content. How easy was that? So now that we have our content, the first thing I said was develop the outline, then create the content cues. That's what I just said with the bullet points. Create those cues. Then the next thing is, those are the cues that record your manuscript. See, for most of us, it's so much easier for us to talk than it is for us to write, because we sit down, we get writer's block, we get stumble, we get stuck. How easy is it for you to just communicate and to talk about these different topic areas that you're an expert in? Probably pretty easy. And so what I want you to do is develop the cues so that when you get the recorder out and start recording, it's very quick and easy for you to transcribe that manuscript. So you get the manuscript onto a recorded file, send it off to a transcriptionist, and then once you get the transcribed manuscript, you can very quickly and easily create the manuscript. So that's how I want you to create the book, and that's how all of our authors have done it very quickly and easily. Now, what makes a best-selling book? Since we're talking about content here, what's the most important pieces? The first is be unique and credible. What makes your book incredibly unique and different? I want you to take a moment now to really answer that question for yourself. What makes you so unique that even though there's competitors' books out there that are similar, you're unique. You stand apart. What makes you different? The next is give massive value. Provide something that is new and different. And of course, offer a solution. Provide the specific results. Show the reader how to actually achieve that result that you want to provide them. And once you've done this, you'll be able to achieve huge results in the level of success that your clients will have. This is something that my dear friend Michael Nitty, who wrote The Trophy Effect and published it with us, one of our first titles we ever released. Great results, good value, and on time. Justin's a pleasure to work with. His knowledge and professionalism are amazing for someone less than 30 years of age. I am a sage to many others myself, yet I have no problem reaching out to Justin for sage advice when it comes to publishing and book-related marketing. So let me tell you next about publishing your book, because if there's nothing else, you really want to know how important it is to publish and release your title. The first thing is your book cover. I got to tell you, there are two things that sell books. The first is a book cover, and the second is your book title. If you don't have your book title and your book cover strongly tested and established, you are not going to have a very powerfully selling book. So the first thing I want you to really focus on is developing that book cover. Now, I want to tell you a little secret. It's very important. Do not have your brother, sister, cousin, aunt, or uncle develop your book cover unless they have long-term book cover design experience. If they've never done a book cover before, they are not to start with your book cover. I can't tell you how many authors come to me and they say, oh yeah, my aunt's going to do my book cover, my sister's going to do my book cover, my cousin's going to do my book cover. And we get it, and every single time, I have not had one exception, we have had to turn the book cover away to another designer to recreate because it just hasn't been to the quality that we need it to be to have it be successful in the industry. So have a professional, hire a professional to do your book cover. You will not regret it. The next piece is doing an interior layout. Your interior layout needs to be established, needs to be very professionally done, and needs to look like a traditionally published book layout. You can't do it in Word. You have to do it in Adobe InDesign or some of the other professional products that other companies use. But I recommend InDesign. And once you've used Adobe InDesign, you can very quickly and easily create your EPUB file, which is needed for the electronic distribution. The next is establishing your distribution strategy, as you mentioned. If you're self-publishing, the problem is you can't get distribution beyond Amazon. So and it's only in the United States, by the way, if you're based here in the US, or if you're based in the UK, it's only in the UK. You have to have a physical address wherever you are distributing your book with Amazon. So it limits you to only your geographic location. You no longer have international distribution if you choose to self-publish. And the reason I say this is because it's very important that you know the downfalls before you get started, before you choose to self-publish, because that was the biggest mistake and the biggest learning experience that I had with my first book. And the reason I've gone on to do 5 others and do them in the way that I have is to make sure that I have that international distribution that I need. The next piece is, again, on that distribution strategy, how are you going to reach the distribution platforms internationally? How are you going to reach Barnes & Noble and the other book retailers, including Ingram and Baker and Taylor? By the way, Ingram and Baker and Taylor are the world's largest distributors internationally, and they're the most important for you to have in order to reach international distribution. I'm going to share with you some of the numbers a little bit later on exactly how broad of a reach they have, so you get a sense of how important it is to reach them. The next is marketing strategy. You absolutely must have a marketing strategy. And the reason is because if you don't market, you don't have success. I can tell you from reviewing a lot of the top book proposals in the country from some of the top authors, all of whom are receiving multi-million-dollar advances, and then comparing them to a lot of the book proposals that we receive that either don't get offers at all or get offers of $0 up front or $1,000 up front compared to the $1 million, is that the guys who are receiving the multi-million-dollar advances have 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 marketing details compared to the actual content. Publishers want to see how you're going to market because they know marketing is what sells. Regardless of your content is usually hit or miss. If it's not for the content, it's for the marketing. The marketing is the biggest thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your overall success as an author. So you really need to have a very honed in, very clarified marketing strategy. The next piece, of course, is web design. And when you do your website, you need to, of course, make sure that you have your product available for sale on that website. It needs to have an About Us page with your bio. It needs to have a media page that will give people the ability to get the media information they need. All these are key important ingredients to having an effective website that's going to make you look very credible. Some of our recent success, these are just a couple of our recent bestsellers that we did. We had one that reached number 16 in the business investing leadership category. We had one that reached 27, the same one in success, 46 in business management, 87 on personal transformation. Some of the high level successes that we've had that have been just incredible for our authors. Now, I'd like to provide these because for most of our authors, if you do decide to go somewhere else, which I can't imagine why, you want to make sure you have these questions answered. Because there's a lot of publishers out there who are not providing the highest level of integrity with their service. So you want to make sure up front you get as much clarity as possible about exactly what you're going to get and exactly how it's going to be given to you. So the most important questions I recommend people ask are, first, how and where will my book be distributed and promoted? What is the term of our publishing agreement? How often am I paid royalties? What rights do you take and are they exclusive? And what promotion and marketing do you do to support my sales? Now with the first one, how and where will my book be distributed and promoted? This is a really important one because as I mentioned before, you have Ingram and Baker and Taylor, which are the two largest distributors in the world. These are the two of the most important distributors for you to have. And so you want to make sure that if your book is being distributed, it's being released in those forms. You also want to know if it's exclusively online or if it's in bookstores and how that's going to work with your authors, or with your publisher rather. The next piece is, what's the term of your publishing agreement? You want to make sure that if you are working with a publisher, that you know exactly what the term is. How long am I tied to this publisher? Is it forever? Is it 5 years? Is it 7 years? Is it 3 years? There's oftentimes a term to the agreement. And the next thing is, how often am I paid royalties? Okay, this is a really important one because you want to know when you're going to be paid, how you're going to be paid, and how much you're going to be paid. And that's always outlined in the agreement, but make sure you have clarity from the publisher when you decide on moving forward with that agreement. The next thing is, and the last thing with that, the other one is, do you withhold any of my royalties pending returns? And the reason I say that is because the way the book publishing industry works is that bookstores like Barnes & Noble will purchase your book on a returnable basis, in other words, on consignment. And if your books don't sell, they'll ship them back to you, and you're responsible for the cost of printing and the cost of shipping. So you have to make sure that you are set up to know if any of your books are being withheld. This will also affect your distribution strategy in regards to how much or how many of your books you want to put into the bookstores right off the bat, and how much promotion you want to do to the actual bookstores, to the physical brick and mortar stores, because that will affect how many books go into the stores, which will in turn affect how many returns you have if you don't have a very strong national marketing campaign. I like to suggest to my authors that perhaps if they want books in the bookstores, they do it on a local level first before they go to a national campaign, because their national marketing oftentimes is not strong enough to justify being in bookstores internationally. The next is, what rights do you take and are they exclusive? This is a really important one because you want to know what creative control you have. You want to know that if you are giving up your movie rights, because oftentimes an author wants to control their movie rights. You want to know if you are giving up your audio rights, or if you have the ability to do that. You want to know if they're going to do an audiobook with your book. With Motivational Press, not only do we do audiobooks, we also do ebooks, of course. We do interactive ebooks. We're very supportive and highly established in terms of a broad level of distribution. And so for us, we want to make sure our authors are highly supported in that regard. The fifth question is, what promotion and marketing do you do to support my sales? You want to know what they're going to do. You want to know if they're going to promote you to special sales opportunities as we do, foreign rights agents as we do, independent bookstores as we do, book clubs as Motivational Press does, book reviewers as we do at Motivational Press, mail order catalogs. It's really important that you have an established understanding of exactly what they're going to do for you so that you know what areas you have to pick up the slack. My friend from Australia, Sue Zbornik, great results, a true expert, and good value. Justin delivers what he promises. He's a man wise beyond his apparent youth and carries integrity and enthusiasm into each encounter. I highly recommend his services as a publisher and business provider. So I told you I would give you some insight as to the expected costs, because as I mentioned, it's very quick and easy to get up to the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range in book publishing if you don't do it intelligently. So the first thing is, editing can oftentimes cost $2,000 to $5,000 for one round of editing. Your interior layout and cover design, $3,000. Publishing and distribution, $5,000 to $10,000. Marketing and promotion, $3,000 to $15,000. And your website, $5,500 to $10,000 for a high-end expert website. Now, what I haven't included here is the cost to print books, which will increase your costs even more. But as a range for you, it can be anywhere from $24,500 to $73,000 just to publish, release, and establish yourself as an author if you don't do it intelligently, as I mentioned. Now, what intelligently means is you work with a company like Motivational Press who will support you in actually making it happen. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a little bit. As I mentioned, I'm going to make it a better than money back guarantee, and you'd have to be so brain dead not to take me up on it because it's such a powerful solution for you that's going to take this $24,000 and slice it into little bits and pieces for you shortly. So the next piece before I do that is I want to tell you a little bit about how you can build credibility for yourself, right? The number one thing is you want to be the expert. You want to get in the media, and the way to do that is establish various pitches that are newsworthy and that are consistent, because the one thing that you know is going to happen is you have to be consistently focused on creating new pitches and new hooks that will get you into the media. The next thing is you need a great website and blog announcing your book. You need to have celebrity endorsements, which as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned some of the names that we've gotten: presidents, senators, leaders of business and of science and of health and wellness, incredible individuals. You want to have these people behind you when you release it. If you can imagine, some of the most successful marketing campaigns you've ever seen in the world are the infomercials. And if you look at the infomercials, what you'll commonly see is that the high level of success comes from the doctor who endorses the health product, or the fitness expert, the weight loss guy who looks so buff and so strong who endorses the Body by Jake or the Push-Up Pro or whatever it may be. You know that these products are credible based on their endorsements from high level, very intelligent individuals that you respect and admire and look up to. You want that same level of credibility behind you, because that's what's going to establish that borrowed credibility that produces your sales. The next is nonprofit partnerships and corporate sponsorships. Following that is speaking engagements. The next is sending the book to your hot prospects. It's an incredible opportunity for you to use this book to develop a closer relationship with your prospects. Following that is your own social communities. You want to make sure that your social communities are very well connected to your book, because they're going to be the ones to talk about you, spread the word, and really expand that viral marketability. The next is produce videos. Video is the top producing content right now of any kind of content that you want to produce on the web. Videos is the number one marketing tool for really expanding your reach, especially with YouTube. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. As my friend Mark Victor Hansen says, do one media interview every day and grow rich in your niche. A quick tip from Mark Victor Hansen: the customer is going to need to see that brand over and over again, and eventually you will build up a rapport and trust with them. Secondly, you need to create a brand that the customer identifies with. People identify with Chicken Soup. People can relate to the topics that are in the books. That's what had Chicken Soup for the Soul become so successful. So as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that your messaging is very well established and very targeted specifically to who you want to read your book, because that's what's going to support you in making that as successful as possible. Dr. David Vick, he was the culture king with Zappos. He said I'm an expert, high integrity, and creative. Justin has wisdom and expertise far beyond his years. He's a role model for other professionals. Justin has impressed me with his focus and ability to handle anything he decides to take on and get things done. If you want a true pro, Justin is the man. The next piece is promotion. I want to tell you about social media because that's a key component right now in really establishing your success. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn are the top tools for authors to really build their following and for business professionals in general. And it's a very effective way for you to really establish success. Our authors are seeing huge response on their Facebook and Twitter. Many of them have been able to, since they've become an author with us, gone from 200 or 300 followers on Facebook and Twitter to literally 5, 10, 20, 30, even 50,000, one of whom actually has 150,000 now on his Twitter followers, and that has correlated directly to his huge success for all of our authors in their book sales. The next is bestseller campaigns. The ability for you to do joint ventures and cross promotions. And the last is, of course, email marketing. Your effectiveness correlates to how much marketing you do. The more marketing you do, the more successful you'll be, and that's where you really want to spend your time focusing. A quick tip from Seth Godin: give the book for free. There is a lot of free stuff out there, but either it's junk or it comes with so many strings attached that people don't want to touch it. then the amount of stuff that is out there that is free and juicy and worth sharing is actually pretty small. So there's a huge opportunity. There are ways you can leverage the attention that you get for free into a permission asset, build the tribe, and actually make money doing so. This is Seth talking about how effective it can be for you to take that book, give it away for free as a lead generator for your other products and services, because many of you on the call have other business ventures that you're working on that you're producing revenue with already. The book is meant to be the tool that produces the leads for you to sell those higher level products and services, to give you the trust, the intimacy, the credibility, and to give you a way into that house so that you can close the deal at a higher level when you close the higher level product. My friend Greg Hartmann, who published Due Diligence with us, great results, good value, high integrity. I had the pleasure of working with Justin in publishing my first book. Justin made the process easy, fun, and very affordable. He connected me with high quality people to edit, format, and do the art of my book. Most importantly, he did what he said he would do in the time frames that he promised. I recommend him highly. The fifth one, generate revenue. Sell your book to big companies in key niches. So this is a really great way. As I mentioned, my first book was Your Mailbox is Full. We did the book for teenagers. One of the most powerful tools that we used was promoting our book to key companies like Office Depot, Staples, etc. for their back-to-school promotions, whereby if a customer sold or purchased enough products for their kids for the back-to-school, then they would get the book for free. The way that this works is you often sell the book at a very low cost and a very high quantity for their national distribution, but it's a really effective way for you to reach a huge number of people, still make money on the back end, but most importantly, establish your brand really broadly. The next is use it as a promotional and prospecting tool, especially for fee-based speaking engagements or platform selling at live events. It's a really effective way for you to get on stages. It's what many of our speakers say is it is the number one strategy they are using to get on stages, to be the expert, and to be the guy that has the high level of credibility. It's actually becoming pretty consistent now that if you're on stages in the personal development, business development, health and wellness industry, and you don't have a book, you're in the minority. So you really must have a book and be highly credible with that book in order to really get on stages effectively. The next is you can often use it as a fast action bonus for people that take immediate action on whatever you're selling from the stage at that event. And some authors even use it for infomercials. Many of you have probably seen some of the different guys on there. Many of them are get rich programs or things like that available on television where they're doing their online marketing. There's a couple on online marketing for the infomercials for the different books. The next is build your own platform. Create more products, repurpose your material. As I mentioned earlier, establish an online training center or certification program for your people. It's a very effective way for you to do that. Kay VanDriel said, on time, high integrity, and creative. Justin is enthusiastic and very clear about what he can do for you. He is a great source in the industry. So the question now is, will you be the next success story? I really believe that my purpose here is to support as many people as possible in really creating the results that they want in their lives, and in really supporting them to build their credibility, build their success, and ultimately reach more people. When I started out in this industry, I became an expert by writing my own book, and then by writing a second and a third book. And in doing so, I was able to reach a huge number of people, and it really established myself very strongly. From there, I realized that the number of people that I could reach was limited only to the number of people whose lives I could speak into personally. And that's what had me really, from a personal standpoint, from a visionary standpoint, develop Motivational Press, was that I now get to support and stand behind so many more people who want to reach the masses that I can exponentially increase the number of lives that I touch, that I influence by supporting others to build their content, release it, and establish it internationally. So the question is, will you join us? Will you join our team? Will you be the next success story with us so that we can help you become a best-selling author immediately? My friend Esmonde Holowaty answered that question, yes. He said that Justin Sachs is an empowered, motivated specialist when it comes to product development, publishing, and promotions. Whatever the promotional task, his team can turn it into a success. I highly recommend them. Esmonde is a phenomenal guy. He's been in a couple of our movies lately as well. So what's next? Your vision. What's the vision for your book? What will it do for your business? I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I really want to bring you back to this because this is what it comes down to, if nothing else. Ultimately, your ability to really identify what this book can do for you is what's going to have you take immediate action. Because I got to be honest with you. Having worked with over 75 authors who have published their books with us, having helped over 400 authors actually write their content before we got into the publishing game, I've seen so many authors begin their book and get stuck somewhere along the way. I've seen so many authors take 3 years, 5 years, 7 years to complete their book. You've probably heard the horror stories as you've explored writing a book previously. And I want to get you done in 60 to 90 days. That's my commitment to you. It's my promise to you. And it's what I believe we can do together. But only if we're clear on exactly why we want to do it. So I want you to decide now for yourself, what is that vision for your book? Is it the high-level credibility? Is it the expanded revenues? Is it the new PR opportunities, getting you on radio, television, and print media, and what that's going to do for your current business, your new business? Is it developing new leads for your current business? Is it getting on more stages? Whatever it is for you, what's your vision? And then I want you to take that vision and I want you to make it even bigger. What's the actual impact you want to have on your community? What results do you want to provide for your community? How do you want to support them in being successful? What will it do for your business and for your life, knowing that you've impacted that many more people that much more effectively? So I mentioned earlier that in order to really be effective in this industry, you have to have a team in order to get it done. And I showed you some of the costs associated to having that team in place. I want to tell you a little bit about the different pieces that you will need to put in play if you don't do it the smart way. Now, again, I mentioned I'm going to give you the smart way to do it. You can choose to do it any other way. If you'll agree with me, my definition of doing it the smart way is doing it at a fraction of the cost of, and with the highest level of professionalism and expertise, compared to those who pay exponentially more, $25,000 to $75,000, as we showed you earlier. We call that the stupid way to do it, or the not smart way to do it. So I'm going to give you the smart way to do it, where you pay a fraction of the cost and don't sacrifice any of the quality, any of the product, or any of the results. That, my friends, is the definition of the smart way to do it. So I want to give you the team that you will need if you don't do it the smart way. If you do it the smart way, you still need this team, but I'm going to provide you that team for you. The first thing you need is a content accountability partner, someone who's going to hold your feet to the fire, hold your hand down, and make sure that you are producing your content. Because if you don't produce the content, you don't have a book. So the first person you need is to develop an accountability partner. Now I want to tell you a little bit about how I developed my first accountability structure. It was, how long ago? Maybe about a year ago now, and I was having the hardest time getting into the gym. I would not go to the gym no matter what you said to me. And so what I did was, I was in a motivational speaking seminar, and the guy at the front of the room said, I want you to decide on a result that you need to produce, and I want you to decide one that you've been really challenged by. Well, of course, for me, that was exercising, as I just told you. I said, okay, and he said, okay, decide on a goal that you're going to produce in the next week. I said, okay, I'll go to the gym twice in the next week, knowing I wasn't actually going to do it. Because I had the goal before. I had set up the personal trainer. I had the workout buddy. I had the time set off in my calendar. I had the rewards built, much like some of you have probably had with some of the goals that you've had in your life, that you just couldn't get yourself to take action on. And the next thing he said blew my mind, because it was something that many of us have probably never thought of, because so many of us are in motivational world or in the speaking world, and we hear so often, set yourself up with a reward that's going to get you into action because it's going to motivate you to a higher level. Well, that's not what this speaker said. The speaker said, what's the consequence to not achieving that result? And I said, the consequence? And he said, yeah, what's the consequence? Well, at the time, Sarah Palin was very involved in in becoming the vice president and running for the election. I guess that makes it 4 years ago now that this happened. And so she was running, and I just could not stand this woman. She could see Russia from her backyard. She drove me crazy. Not that it was politically. I don't necessarily dislike the party or anything like that. I just couldn't wrap my head around this woman who seemed so stupid to me. So I said, okay, if I don't exercise 2 times in the next week, I will pay Sarah Palin $100 for every time I do not exercise towards her campaign. And the most amazing thing happened. That week, for the first time, I went to the gym and I exercised, because it wasn't about the money, but it was about the fact that there was no way I was going to give Sarah Palin any money to support her in becoming the vice president of the United States. And so I want you to decide on what that's going to be for you, because if you can decide on what the thing is that's going to move you into action no matter what, and you can decide on the consequence that's going to hold your feet to the fire and get an accountability partner that's going to hold you to that consequence, you will take action, you will produce the content, and you will have a book. So I want you to decide on that now. The next person you're going to need is an editor, someone to fix the errors you missed. Now, I have a quick cost-saving tip. I want you to send your manuscript to 5 to 10 close contacts, ask them to read and pay close attention to the details, and edit the manuscript. Review their work and make changes. That is one of the most effective ways for you to eliminate a lot of the high costs of an editor, especially with the multiple rounds. Now, if you do want to hire an editor, which I totally understand, and many of my authors do, I still oftentimes recommend you send it to 5 to 10 people to begin with to go through your first round of editing so that your editor can focus on some of the less widely known, less widely noticed issues that go on with your work. The next person you'll need is a graphic designer who will do your cover design and your interior layout. This absolutely must be done by an experienced expert. Do not have your sister, brother, dad, or best friend do your cover. This is absolutely critical. The next thing is you have to have a publisher, someone to release it to the world and secure your distribution. When you work with Motivational Press, as I mentioned, we handle your graphic design work, your publishing, your distribution, and your industry promotions for you. The next thing is I want to tell you about your process. I want to tell you about where most authors get stopped and how daunting and overwhelming the content creation can be, and how you can quickly and easily overcome that. So here's your content creation system. First, content. Second, test your concept. Third, adjust according to the feedback. And fourth, publish. I want to tell you about my friend Lisa Nichols, who created her recent book, and the way that she did it, it was absolutely brilliant. She created a chapter, then she did a reading to her community and read the chapter on a teleseminar. Now this did two things. The first thing it did is it started to rally troops around her as she's building her following behind the book, so that when she released it, she had all these people behind her ready to help her promote in her community, ready to buy, very excited about her releasing the content. The next thing she did is it allowed her to test her content and make the adjustments that she needed. And the last thing was it allowed her publisher to see that she was engaging her community in developing and producing that content for when she was ready to release it. It was absolutely brilliant. The number one key to this was that she did not wait until the book was published to test her content. Test your content often and up front so that you know that your community is going to really accept and embrace the content that you release. Some key considerations before you get started. The first thing is identify your target market. Okay, create your attention-grabbing message. This is really important because you want to make sure that you have a really clear target market and attention-grabbing message. That's what's going to produce the killer result that you want in your product. So let me tell you a little bit about the Write and Publish Celebrity Author Program. The first thing is it's going to get it done fast for you. It's going to require less time and less money. It's going to be the competitive creative edge for you. It's going to give you that edge so that you can move forward and really build that which you want. It's a step-by-step proven system. We've done over 75 authors now with our company, and we've helped with the product development system. We've produced over 400 books with the actual writing of the content. It's your fast-track path to success, and it's your fast path to financial freedom. So if there's one thing that I want you to do, I want you to take action, because it's going to make a huge difference for you. So let me tell you about our plan. Here's how we can support you. The first thing I want to tell you is about the access you'll have to the huge amounts of traffic. Amazon.com reaches 80.2 million people per month. Amazon in the UK, 27.5 million. Barnes & Noble, 7.5. Gen Connect, 1.5. Textbooks.com, 304,000. Our Facebook, 35,000. Our total reach, over 117 million people per month, and this is just a partial list of the retailers and media which our books are available and promoted to. So imagine having just a little fraction of 117 million people per month accessing what you have going on with your book. How powerful would that be for you? Next, I want to tell you about our distribution. Ingram has more than 71,000 retailers and libraries globally, with distribution to retailers in Canada, the United Kingdom, Brazil, and Germany, and of course the United States. Baker & Taylor, 36,000 retailers and libraries in more than 120 countries. Bertram's, the leading United Kingdom distributor. The Espresso Book Machine, which puts your books inside over 70 bookstores immediately upon releasing your title. And John Reed Books, our exclusive distributor in Australia, one of the top distributors there. And this is, again, just a partial list of the top distributors and wholesalers to which our books are available globally. We represent you to foreign markets so that your book is available in India, China, Russia, and many others. Israel, as I mentioned, Taiwan, we're in Japan, we're in, I think I mentioned India's there, Pakistan, I mentioned Brazil, Chile, Poland, all over the place. I mean, you name it, we have agents representing us there. The next thing is I want to give you the quick start system to writing your book. I want to give you the system that's actually going to make the writing process step by step very easy so that you can be amazed by how much you'll learn and how simple it is for you to succeed very quickly and easily in writing. Real world value, it's worth $1,000. I want to give you a high-level book cover design. These are the same guys that have produced some of the covers for our leading experts, including Dave Van Hoose, Don Spini, James Timothy White, and others of our internationally best-selling authors. Real world value, $897. We're going to give you our interior layout. And that's where we actually take your manuscript and turn it into a 6x9 Adobe InDesign, really high level, proven, powerful interior design layout that looks professional with as many pictures as you want in there because many of the guys want pictures in it. Now we do black and white interior. The real world value there is $1,200. We represent you as your publisher. That's Motivational Press. We release your book and you're branded as one of the authors of one of the world's leading thought leader publishers. Real world value, $497. We give you international distribution to Blackwell's, Amazon, Baker & Taylor, Espresso Book Machine, Ingram, Bertram's, The Book Depository, etc. We are your distribution manager. We're your distributor. Real world value, $1,297. International distribution. We distribute your ebooks to Amazon, the iTunes bookstore, ebooks.com, as well as a lot of the other ebook distributors internationally. Real world value, $497. International audiobook distribution. We're going to put you on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon so that your books are available on some of the largest, audiobook retailers in the world. Real world value on that, $497. The next thing, we're going to do monthly industry promotions. As I mentioned, you want to know if your publisher is going to be promoting you to special sales opportunities, foreign rights opportunities, independent bookstores, book clubs, book reviewers, mail order catalogs, etc. We do all of that for you. Real world value on that, $600. The next, Author's Welcome Kit. We're going to give you our special author resources, special corporate sponsor offers to make it really powerful, quick, and easy for you to get on stages. And if you already are on stages, to get discounts in order on your travel and on your other expenses so that it makes it a cost-saving venture for you to be a part of our community. We also give you recommended newsletters and all sorts of other value on that. It's completely priceless. We give you the author's promotion to Motivational Press social media, the promotion to our social media followers, 35,000 plus fans and followers. We're going to do that for you, priceless. And promoted at all of our book expos that we are featured at. That's in Frankfurt, that's in Beijing, that's in New York at the Big Book Expo, and all of the other expos and fairs that we are featured in internationally throughout the year. Real word on that's priceless. So our total value, $6,982. My friend Don Spini said, my book was a bestseller within 24 hours of its launch. Working with Justin's publishing and promotions team was fast, easy, and produced results. We're now distributed throughout the world and have sold foreign rights internationally with the support of the Motivational Press team. He's the internationally best-selling author of 60 Seconds to Yes. Will you be the next world-renowned best-selling author? What I want to do for you is I want to take that $6,982, I want to slice it right in half, $3,491. But wait, the next thing I want to do for you, I want to give you my 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Take action now. Try the system for 30 days. If you aren't totally excited at how easy it is to write your content, develop it, release it, publish it, produce it, we'll give you your money back. A quick tip from Wayne Dyer. If I needed to pay for my own expenses to travel across the country, I would. It was worth it being brave for it. It was worth being brave for. You absolutely must be brave, and you must take action in order to produce the result that you want. I define professional and personal success the way that David Thoreau described it. If you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life which you have always imagined, you will meet with success, unexpected, in common hours. Follow your dreams. So I encourage each of you to follow your dreams here. I'm going to give you some fast action bonuses to make it a no-brainer, money-back guarantee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a private authors coaching session with one of my top team leaders who is going to mastermind with you on any topic you choose, whether it's writing, publishing and distribution, making money, business building, producing additional products, marketing, whatever it is, real world value, $1,200. The next fast action bonus, we're going to do a huge e-blast for you so that we actually are supporting you and release your book. That's to our opt-in list of over 1 million people. That's a huge asset for you so you can actually release that book. The real world value on that is $997. And we're going to invite you to our author and speaker mastermind live event. We do a mastermind event every quarter with our key leaders who come together and support each other to really elevate our level of success together and really make each other more successful every year. So I'm going to invite you to that. You're going to get an invitation. The real world value, $1997. So if we put all that together, your real world value, total value, $8,176. As I mentioned, I cut it on half from the first price, not from the real world second with the bonuses, $3,491. If this program just did one thing for you, if it just got you one new speaking engagement at $5,000, $7,500, even $10,000, would it be worth it? If this program made you a best-selling author, which in turn gave you the opportunity to be on huge media outlets just a few times a month, consistently for the rest of your career, would that be worth it to you? If this one-time investment got you a corporate sponsorship with one of the world's leading Fortune 500 companies, would it be worth it to you? And if this one investment of $34.91 got you a nonprofit partnership with one of the world's leading nonprofit organizations, the YMCA, Kiwanis, any of the others, would that be worth it to you? Many of our authors have said yes time and time and time again and have found that it consistently pays for itself over and over and over and over again. But what I'm going to do for you is take another $500 off and give it to you today for $29.99. That's your price. It's $500 off of our usual price of $34.91, specifically because you committed to take action. So we look forward to serving you, we look forward to working with you, and we look forward to making your book an absolute success. We are the leading company set to serve and support our authors with leading technology, revolutionary marketing tactics, and global distribution. I can't wait to support you. I look forward to contributing to your life and supporting you in reaching as many people as possible. It's my mission, it's my purpose, and it's my absolute privilege to really stand for you and what you want to create. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much.